This one I saw, and I don't really know what it's going to refer to. Maybe it's referring to the new rules that YouTube likes to do without telling anyone. Just just hey, this is now happening, and like people have to discover it on their own versus YouTube, telling anyone, which is crazy. Like I can't imagine any company that could do things like that and still stay in business long term. Like YouTube, like not to be like messed up, but it's like they're really like lucky that they were the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the site that a lot of people went to create their content. Because let's be fair, YouTube did not do anything other than give a platform for people to express themselves with their content, and that is how YouTube became a thing in terms of like being successful. Because it's not like they don't, it's not like Netflix and stuff like that, where they have their own things. I know they have YouTube originals, but they're almost all crap, which really sucks. At least the ones I've seen. Maybe there's good ones. Maybe I'll look into that because I didn't even think about it. But like the first couple of YouTube originals that they released, I just really wasn't a fan of. Let's take a look.
Don't be a YouTuber.
Oh, this is really annoying.
Don't be a YouTuber. Or do, because I'm not your mother, probably. But before you do, there's a lot you should know that really doesn't generally get brought up on this platform. This isn't universal, a lot of this is coming from my own personal experience. But after having been invested on this website for 6 or so years
This volume
now,
sounds a little low.
Let's see, what are these videos? Whoa.
Turn it up.
and personal experience. But after
Yeah, I mean, these videos pop off. Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of fucking views. Holy shit.
Yeah, but he's like really... For an anime channel, I don't think it's that much. No, 1 mil, that's like completely good. Yeah. It is like anime One Piece-ish, though, and that's like the biggest anime. I'm not like dissing on this guy in any way, by the way. It's just I do watch some anime channels, and like this is actually not that good. Some of them are really good though. 1 million, 860K, stuff like that. In general, I mean, doing really well. It's just I know for anime ones, they hit millions all the time. Just a lot of anime fans.
There's a lot of One Piece videos he's done. Like, I have not watched that anime yet.
I have, but I haven't finished it.
for 6 or so years
I mean,
now,
it's not
there are
finished,
just some
but
things I wish I knew.
One Piece isn't finished, but it's like I gave up like so many episodes.
Okay.
I'll probably go back to it someday, but I don't know.
All of the wacky drama on YouTube, it's actually one of the most
I can
supportive
barely hear this
blogs of
guy.
people that I've ever encountered.
I think this might be Asmon's volume being too low.
Any YouTuber you talk to will be highly encouraging. I mean, of course you should get involved because literally anyone can do it. It's very similar to the classic dream of, say, becoming a big Hollywood actor, writer, director, whatever it is along those lines.
Of course.
Until you realize that all of your favorite actors are related to a producer who's related to a musical artist who's like the nephew of a record executive. It's a very nepotistic industry to say the least. But YouTube actually is that dream because it technically has no barriers to entry. You don't need to be in a specific geographic...
I do think being friends with like a bigger content creator could help jumpstart your career. It's not a guarantee, but I think it can really help.
Are we good?
Oh, I guess someone in his chat like let him know. Oh no, I think like they got lag or something.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good.
nephew of a record executive. It's a very nepotistic industry to say the least. But YouTube actually is that dream because it technically has no barriers to entry. You don't need to be in a specific geographic location. You don't need to know someone to get your foot in the door. And you don't
Yeah, you just need internet.
even need any professional quality gear or even professional skills. You just need either a really good idea, a solid grind set attitude, or both. Ideally both. I honestly believe...
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. A lot of people always say that, you know, oh, well, I can't get into YouTube because everybody that's already in it, like you have to know somebody to get into it, etc. I don't think that's very true. I think that if you have a good idea, you're motivated to make content, you will actually be successful in time.
Eventually.
Most, like not every time, but like most of the time, I think that will happen.
Yeah, but you won't know until you've tried it. Like, I'm obviously just starting YouTube stuff, and it's like, I don't see it as something I'm ever going to make as an actual job. because it's just, I don't know. Most people who say like who are now making a living out of it, almost all of them say it took them like years to actually make any money out of it. So
yeah, sounds like an excuse. Yeah, I think so.
It is the most equal opportunity platform to have ever existed in human history. And the reason why I compared it to a classical Hollywood dream is because that dream is dead. A survey in 2017 found that 34% of all kids want to become YouTubers as a career. Meanwhile, a much more recent survey in 2022 saw that number skyrocket to...
Yeah, this is really reassuring, guys. Let's take a look at this. I've showed you guys this too. What do you want to be whenever you grow up? Well, in the UK, people want to be a vlogger, an athlete, or a musician. US, obviously a YouTuber, again, athlete or musician or teacher. And then over in China, they want to be an astronaut. So yeah, I think that goes to really show what we have to look forward to for the next 30 years.
To an astonishing 75%, with around 30% of them specifically gearing themselves towards becoming vloggers. For a career that didn't even exist a decade ago, that is pretty damn wild. And I very much blame, look, maybe not blame, but I attribute a huge part of that to what I said before. Just how encouraging YouTubers are that anyone can do this. But that's not really the whole story, and a whole ton of tips.
Oh, I don't think that's why. I would say it's because a lot of people, especially younger people, they watch YouTube. So that's what it is. I honestly think that's it. Like, I think even TikTok is going to overtake that. Like, what do you want to be? Like, vlogger, YouTube, and I think TikToker would probably be right up there now, at least with that generation. Oh my goodness, I hate when it does stuff like that.
Well, I think the reason why people want to be a YouTuber, you want to know the real truth, is that a lot of kids think that all it is just turning on a camera and recording yourself and then putting the video out there, and now you're a millionaire. This is not really the truth. It's not.
I mean, it kind of became the truth for Asmon, like, to be fair, and like for a few people that is the truth.
Actually, what happens. So obviously people will say that because that seems like
it's also the case where they didn't see them before they made money a lot of times.
It's like, you know, fucking money for nothing, chicks for free. So obviously that's what people want to do because they think it's really easy, and it would be this that simple. You don't
like
do
being
that?
A musician.
Well, I think there's a lot more to it whenever you break it down and you actually look at kind of the amount of like time I spend like reading things, and like also like with me it's very like weird because I also have like other things that I'm doing that isn't just content, right? Like OTK, Starforge, etc. So it's hard to use me as an example, but I think for YouTube content creators, for example, like you have to think of the video that you're making.
I don't think Asmon would be like a really good one to, or even like other ones like myself, Valkyrie, like OTK in general, like almost any of them, like basically channels that aren't really doing content in a sense. They're, what's the word I'm looking for? Like they're not doing a lot of editing. They're not actually doing things itself. They're just either playing a persona or them just being themselves. And people find that entertaining. But it's not a case where it's like having to spend like 10 hours on a 30-minute video. You know what I mean? Like to me, I see those guys as actual content creators, while the other everyone else is like just entertainers. Is kind of how I view it. Because it's like Joe Rogan. He's an entertainer. He's not really creating things. He's just entertaining to listen to or maybe watch. OTK, most of OTK members are like that I know of. So is like other streamers in general. Most streamers are that. Is they're not actually creating content, but they are entertaining to watch. So they are the content in a sense.
You have to source the material that you're going to use. You have to script out or speak and, you know, like make the video, like, you know, do the talking portion of the video. You then have to edit the video. Then you have to market the video. Like all of these things take a lot of time. So the actual recording time might only be 45 minutes, but the time that it takes to make that video a reality is 12 hours.
Yeah, like Mr. Beast, for example, is like an actual content creator. Like he's going out there and doing like actual things. Like it's not just like, hey, this is me, hello. And I'm not saying he's actually a little bit of both, to be honest. Like crazy fusion of like a really entertaining and a content creator, because he actually puts like a ton of work into his videos. Well, like streamers that just react to things, like myself included, it's not exactly a lot of work. Like yes, I do edit videos and like I'll put them on YouTube and stuff, but it's not like it takes me hours upon hours to do those kind of edits. I mean, it will take me a while because it's like I have to do multiple videos at once, but it's not like I'm doing videos like the Warcraft, like Platinum WoW, like those kind of videos. Like those take way, way, way longer, and it's a lot less. It's condensed, basically.
You hear from people.
I'll try not to pause too much because I just saw this video is pretty long, so.
Slathering of survivor bias, which is the tendency to concentrate on those who made it rather than those who did not. And I think that's understandable.
That is true. For every YouTuber that made it, there's like 1,000 that didn't.
Well, because those that did try and fail don't actually have a voice on this platform, which makes it real difficult to get their perspective.
Oh,
For
sure.
example, my flagship channel just hit over 1 million subscribers, which is actually not as rare as you may think. In 2022, it's estimated that somewhere between 25 to 30,000 channels have over 1 million subscribers.
That's crazy.
However, when you put that into perspective, YouTube also estimates that there are roughly 37 million channels on the platform.
Right.
Not users, not viewers, just channels. Channels that are actually producing content. Which puts channels like mine in like the top 0.08%. And I don't say that to just like, statistically jerk myself off on camera. I mean, to be fair though, that ratio is pretty hot. But I say it more to highlight just how many unheard voices there really are.
Well, I always find this to be funny whenever somebody says that a streamer fell off and now they only get like 4,000 viewers now. Meanwhile, 4,000 viewers is in the top like 1,000 people on Twitch, or like, 500 people on Twitch or something like that. And then meanwhile, this is like, it's like 1 million people that have made platforms or made accounts. It's nuts.
Being the most equal opportunity platform in human history, the odds are still pretty astronomically stacked against you if you want to make YouTube a career. And I think the vast majority of people fail for one very simple reason. The most common factor I see with successful channels is pure obsession. You need to live and breathe your content. For example, I have this Luffy. I live it, I breathe it. That was creepy. You may or may not want to choose to include that. But whether it's anime,
I think that's definitely true, is that people don't spend a lot of time actually investing into their channel. Like you see people talking about like, yeah, I do YouTube, but it's not really doing very well for me. And they upload one video a week. It's not very well edited. And sometimes they miss weeks. They don't really do anything on Twitter. Like you're not really putting in effort here. You're not putting in work.
And to be fair, from my understanding, a lot of them do at first, but then they just give up. And I think it's fair, though. Sometimes you just got to realize this isn't making money. It's not a solid career path, and they do something else. Maybe they keep it as a hobby. You know what I mean? Like my case, like I'm doing this with the intent of hopefully one day making it maybe permanent. At the same time, I'm just like not going to delude myself. It doesn't work out, I have my job, so I'm not going to be homeless. And I have people relying on me, so it's never a case where I can just like quit and be like, no, I'm doing YouTube. Like I see some YouTubers and streamers say that. Like, no, you just got to make that a decision and just quit your job and do it. But it's like, not everyone can do that. But like, I'm not going to like pity party it. It's like, it is what it is. I have my circumstance. I'm just going to do my best to work around it and just keep doing it.
You're just doing the bare
I told myself
minimum,
I wasn't going to
and
pause.
guess what? That's what you're getting out of it.
Yeah.
History, gaming, science, finance, beauty, like whatever. It honestly doesn't matter what the content is.
I think that in like a video I made 10 years ago, I said that to be the best, you have to be obsessed. And it's not something I invented either. I just heard it and thought it was true. I think it's still true.
I think that's a sports
People
term.
that are really, really good at something are usually hyper fixated on it to a degree that is unhealthy.
Yeah, I would say
As
so.
it matters that you are absolutely obsessed with it. It could even be video making itself. Like, you might not be obsessed with the topic you're making a video on, but you're obsessed with the process of making the actual video. That's perfectly valid. The reason why you need to be obsessed, though, is because the bad times of video making are going to heavily outweigh the good times. For example, to make a Grand Line review video, I have to write a roughly 2,500 word script. And not only that, but I'm
gonna be honest. Like, most of my videos, I did not script. I would only have, like, bullet points that I was going to talk on, and then I would just go.
So with what Asmon's talking about, there's actually, like, in writing, that's actually a thing as well for people who write novels and stuff. There are people who have to have, like, scripts and stuff, like, basically very organized way of writing, and then you have other people who just give me an idea and I'll run with it, and I'll just, you know, off the cuff, just go with it. So I think it's interesting that it's both in writing and in videos.
I'd be like, oh yeah, and oh yeah, dog shit mounts. Okay, well, this is gonna be the next 5 minutes. Here we go. Yeah, and I'd have, like, in my mind what I was gonna say, but I wouldn't have it written down.
That 4 days a week for that channel alone. Add a New World review and Dude in a Room, which I'm doing right now, and that means I'm writing at least one whole essay per day. And that's a lot. That gets hard. Often, I just want to do anything else that isn't writing. But this is where obsession carries you pretty hard. Because I'm so, arguably, unnaturally invested in what I'm talking about, that passion outweighs the grind.
Yes.
And you can apply that to any part of the process. Like, say, editing. What you guys see on screen is like a fun 3-second effect. But what you don't see is, like, the hour and a bit that it took me to research and implement that effect. I was tearing my hair out in frustration until it actually works. If I wasn't obsessed with what I was talking about, I would have quit.
Well, it's also, like, having awareness of doing it. So, for example, like, what you're really talking about, like, that effect there is you're taking two different, what's the word for it? Two different layers, putting them on, like, you know, let's say Sony Vegas. Like, the first layer is the poop sound effect, and the second layer is the poop, you know, PNG image or JPEG or whatever. And then you take it, and then you take the rotation on the end. What is it called again? The end of the frame, and then you rotate it around. How long would this actually take to do? If you were good at it, like, I used to be very, very good at editing because I had to do it all the time. So I would find different ways that I could, I could kind of turn editing into, like, a formulaic process that I could almost automate by, like, having presets and having just...
It's also a case where, because I do obviously edit, so to a degree I'm not, like, big on editing, but I do use editing software, and a lot of it has, like, preset effects that you can add to images and stuff. Like, for example, end of the video, like, I have, like, this, like, end of video little thing that I put on there mainly because I felt like my videos were just cutting short, like, just abruptly, and I don't really like it when other videos do it, so I'm like, okay, well, I'll do something for my videos. And a lot of it is just me messing with the tools of the editor and figuring out, okay, this does this, this does that, and just trying to combine them to be somewhat okay. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to say my ending thing is, like, anything special. It's really not. But, like, a lot of the effects that Asmon's now talking about, even with, like, that poop thing moving, it actually wouldn't take that long. With the editor he just showed, which I believe is Power Director, which I do use as well, along with something else. And it's not that hard. I'm like thinking in my head, like, on what tools I would need to replicate that. I don't think it'd be that hard.
Just different auto plays that I could do.
A long time ago. So on the bright side, YouTube is one career.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is, like, a person who's new to it, it would take them probably over an hour to do that. And a person that, like this guy, I bet he probably did that in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Having a crippling
maybe
and
10.
Potentially socially awkward obsession can really pay off. But if you just like something, or even worse, if you just like the idea of being a YouTuber, then you are almost certainly going to fail. And even if you do succeed, there is a price to success. And by far, the biggest price is time.
Most people like being YouTubers or, like, streamers or something like that because they feel like they're special and they want to be treated like they're special. which, in my opinion,
Hmm.
is like the pinnacle of cringe. Oh my god. Oh, everybody, I want people to know that I'm special. I
Yeah.
want people to recognize me, and I want people to like me. They want the attention. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, stop it. Like, what are your parents? Your parents not give you enough attention? Stop this.
Yeah, that is weird. I think if you're going to go into streaming, like first and foremost, you should try to see what you can provide to your viewers in any way. Like hot top streamers, they're providing, eye candy. They're visually appealing. Like even if they don't provide other things, at least they have that going for them, right? And then you have like podcasters and stuff like that. And myself, like I'm just speaking. So if I felt like I was really poor at speaking, which I can be at times, but like if I felt like I really couldn't talk about stuff or comment on things, I probably wouldn't continue this. If I did it for a while, I was like, yeah, I suck at commenting, and I probably do. Who knows? But at least I am trying. It basically like until I'll rewatch some of my stuff just to see, like, okay, did I comment enough? Because I don't like it when I watch a video and there wasn't much I could say. I probably wouldn't even upload that video. Just maybe I have already and I didn't even realize it, but there were a few times where I'm streaming and I'm like, man, I didn't even say much. I'm not going to do anything with this. Because it's like, why would you watch it? Like, I wouldn't watch it, and it's my video, so.
Like,
right, last time I paused it, sorry.
It's so fucking desperate and pathetic. It's sad.
Yeah.
Even the simplest of videos when you're inexperienced takes a long, long time. However long you're thinking, triple it, quadruple it, maybe even do the other one.
Yeah, the first time I was editing videos, it took me forever, like almost the whole day. And then it's been getting shorter and shorter and shorter every time as you learn more things about it.
It's a long time. Yeah.
I said I would stop and I didn't. Okay.
Quintuple. Do that, or maybe even more. And then when you do know how to make videos, you start getting more ambitious, which just adds more time. And the people at the very top do have a much healthier work-life balance because they can afford to hire employees, which frees up time for
exactly.
That's true.
Sort of
yeah, most YouTube content creators that are more popular, they will probably have an editor. And I think he even referred to, are we going to keep that in for the video whenever he was doing the licking of the poster? So I'm pretty sure he might have an editor as well.
Life. But that's not the vast majority of YouTubers. That's not even me. And for those of you who are just beginning, it is going to be years and years on this
channel. Could you please increase volume? Is the volume low?
It's a bit low. I've been kind of dealing with it because I didn't have a way to increase his voice while keeping Asmon's like the same.
It's hard for me to tell how low or high the volume is because I have these like my beanie on, and because of that I'm not hearing it as in the same volume that I usually am. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Before you can even think of the concept of
that is
hiring
better.
someone, which means that all of that time being put into the channel is just yours. And so if YouTube is your hobby, then sure, that's fine. You can afford to chuck in a little bit of time here and not a lot of time there. But if you have ideas of becoming more serious than that, then honestly, you should probably be prepared to just write off your social life. To be clear, I'm not saying that you should do that. I'm saying that it's a bit of an inevitable cost, especially when you're just starting, because you'll probably already have a full-time job to support all of the living that I hear you like to do. So when you...
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. That's what I did is whenever I first started YouTube, I was actually going to college, and then my goal was to just make enough money to live and not have to get a job.
Get home from work, you won't have time to do anything that you want to because you will need to be making videos. And on weekends, mate, that is prime video making time. If you're not using those, then you're probably not posting videos, because to post videos, you need to make videos, and to make videos, you need to use the time to make them. It's a lot. And again,
it's like people say, do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. There's also do something you love and you'll learn to hate it and create an extremely unhealthy work-life balance that makes you hate your entire life. Both of these things are possible.
That is very true.
And even the really
if you
simple
let
ones
it,
take
yeah.
a long time to make. For example, it can take anywhere from 12 to 24 hours to make a standard Grand Line review video. That includes research, writing, recording, editing, thumbnail making, and whatever other production needs pop up. And that time cost is after having streamlined the process to what I think is currently its most efficient. It also doesn't necessarily get better when you do get to hire staff, like say editors. I have 2 editors for Grand Line Review who edit half the videos whilst I edit the other half. And I can't count the amount of times I've run into a situation where I've been invited out, because that happens sometimes for some reason. But I can't go, because if I do go out, it means I won't have the time to have a project ready for one of my editors. So what am I meant to say in that situation? Sorry, Mr. Editor, but you're not getting paid this week because I wanted to have a fun night out. Or alternatively, I pay them regardless because it was my fault for not being prepared in time, and that night out ends up just costing me a disgusting amount. And I actually think that Mr. Beast is a great example to bring up here. I often sing his praises for just having taken control of this platform with increasingly brilliant ideas, but that guy has no life outside of video making. He lives in his studio and just spends 24/7 working. The 10 minutes of video that
that's what he likes doing. That's what he does. And there are people, by the way, like for me, I stream every single day, and I love streaming. I like, if I made no money streaming, I would still stream. I would not give a fuck. Yeah, he's obsessed with it. Yes, exactly.
Releases every month or so is the result of weeks and months of just non-stop obsessive work. And if that's not a lifestyle that appeals to you, then maybe aiming to be a YouTuber isn't the greatest of ideas. Because every bit of sweet success you taste is going to make you more and more willing to give that much more of your life away. And that's to say nothing of the list.
That's definitely what's happened with it's what's happened with me to an extent, is that I like doing what I like doing. And I just kind of, I'm gonna open the window, it's getting a little bit. Actually, yeah, I'll open the window and then turn this off. Give me 1 second, guys, sorry. Fucking piece of shit. It's 81 fucking degrees because it was freezing in my house. Okay, we should be fine. Anyway, like, yeah, that's what happened with me, is like I will like always do more and more and more and more until like I'm overwhelmed, and then it's a problem. Yeah, I do that a lot.
Years of time investment that you may need to put in before anything starts paying off. I mention this a lot, but it's never been more relevant than it is now. I was making videos for 3 years before I saw a single cent. Not that everything is about money, but look,
I got pretty lucky. Whenever I first started making videos, I made a few of them, and
that's what I referred to earlier. Is a lot of creators will say that they've been doing their thing for years and just are barely now making money. Not that they're barely making money, just recently have been making money.
Started doing well, and I made more, and they also did well, and then I just kept making them, and like after like 6 months of making videos or so, already I was making enough money to where I could do that as a full-time job.
That's
but you
really
have to keep in mind that whenever I was doing that, I had played WoW for like 10 years at that time. Yeah, something like, I don't know, it was like somewhere around there. And I played WoW for like a massive amount of time. I had like a crazy amount of game knowledge. So like whenever I started making these videos, like, I'm gonna be honest, like, I knew this shit better than anybody else, and nobody was even remotely close. And you can go back to the original videos and you can see that.
Eventually, you do need to
at
find
least
a way
among the
to
people
sustain
uploading
your obsessive
videos.
activities. And continuing along the lines of obsession, one thing you need to know is that YouTube is a platform designed to get you addicted to success. As a creator, I often feel like a dog being fed a delicious treat by YouTube every time I perform the trick it is they want to see. I mean, within the creator dashboard, they reward you with literal fireworks when one of your videos performs amazingly, which of course leads to more views, more growth.
I thought that was kind of
revenue.
cringe. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've seen it, like, when I'm looking at, like, my videos, and I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, oh, that's weird. Okay, like, I don't really care, to be honest. I don't know if this is healthy, but I try to see it as this. Like, I'm not gonna really, like, super focus in on, like, things that most people normally would, which is, like, viewership and, like, subscription. My thing is, am I learning things? Like, can I still get better at this? Or is there something I feel like I can do more of? Like, I just focus on that instead. And I think if ever it gets to the point where I don't, and I feel like I can't, or not learning anything new, whether it's editing, speaking on the mic, like I notice I say a lot, and you guys probably catch it, and I try to tell myself like, okay, that doesn't sound that good, so try to avoid doing that. I still do it, but I think I've cut back on it a lot. And even in the editing, like I try always learning things from there too. So I think that's for me how I'm just going to go at it, or how I've been going at it. I don't know if it's the better way or whatever, but so far it's made doing these kind of things just a lot easier.
Oh, yeah. It's all very addictive. And that only makes me more willing to invest time into it because I need that hit, you know? But it also has a very harsh come down because when you do perform badly, not only does YouTube not reward you, but it actively punishes you. Every time I...
It sucks whenever you have a video that doesn't do well. This is just like for me. I don't take it personally whenever my videos don't do well, but having my streams not do well is like much more bothersome for me. And I think the reason for that is because whenever you're streaming, you have to deal with like that success or lack thereof in immediate real time. You know, you're seeing how well the stream is going. You have people in your chat that are telling you if it's going bad because they don't like you, or they're telling you it's going well because they do like you. They're like constantly putting pressure on you to, you know, meet your expected viewer count.
That seems a lot more rougher.
Like, I think Twitch is like extremely toxic in that way, and YouTube is not like that at all. And I actually vastly prefer YouTube because of that. But overall, I don't take it personal whenever it's a YouTube video. It doesn't
streaming, and the other is just uploading videos because he doesn't stream on YouTube whatsoever that I know of.
Do well, but I do take it personal whenever it's a stream that doesn't do well. Sure.
Have a low performing video, I feel like my career is over. It makes it really difficult to do things like say sleep, which I've heard is pretty important. And it also makes me really adverse to taking risks in terms of video content. I know what my YouTube audience wants, so I give it to them, and I tend to avoid passion projects that could harm or even sink the channel. But again, this is where obsession comes in clutch. I am so obsessed with One Piece that I am happy to talk about anything. It really doesn't matter because
I think that's what really matters is that you know, you're super enthusiastic about it, you like it a lot. Like, how many of you guys have seen somebody who, you know, they really like World of Warcraft, for example, and then over time they lose interest with WoW, and in the process of that they stop caring about it and the videos go down in quality? Me? No, I stopped making videos about WoW. Like, that wasn't me at all.
Yeah, that's a little different.
Like, don't fucking put this shit on me. That was not me. But the problem is that I didn't. Like, I kept making, like, achievement guides. But the game was in such a bad state, nobody cared about achievement guides anymore. They just wanted to talk about how bad the game was. So I'm like, okay, well, do I want to spend 20 hours making an achievement guide? Or do I want to spend 20 minutes talking about how flying sucks in Warlords of Draenor? I mean, damn.
Yeah.
This is my favorite thing. And if I didn't have that acute obsession, I think always having to min-max content could be quite soul-destroying. And that's before you bring up the idea of putting yourself out there publicly. Because something you should be prepared for is the fact that some people are just going to hate you. Sometimes
it's not just that they're going to hate you, and this is something that's very true with streaming, is that people will say things just to make a streamer squirm, just to make them mad, just to get a reaction. And a lot of people don't have the right...
You know what's crazy? Like, as small as my thing is, like, I basically have, like, no one. It's happened to me, like, already. Like, I think the first time I streamed, I think it was one person. And then it was the fourth time I streamed. There's, like, two people who were, like, I don't know, trying to talk smack. And it's just like, what the heck? Like, what are you doing? I didn't even address it. I'm just like, what? Why?
Right approach to
so I can't even imagine like a bigger streamer, you know what I mean?
it. Here is the right approach to it. This is my advice for anybody. Never take anybody's criticism that is not another content creator. If a viewer tells you to do something, They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Don't listen to them.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do. And if you don't have the right
and even then, that second part where it's like not from a content creator, I would say it depends on who the content creator is. Like, is it someone you respect as a content creator? Because if not, don't listen to them either. Like, I wouldn't listen to them, just straight up. Maybe if they were like really big, in which case I would see, I would try to see what they're like kind of insinuating, not insinuating, but like trying to get across. Because obviously, if they're a bigger creator, they kind of know the ins and out of the system in a sense. So they would have more weight behind their words. But even then, if I didn't really respect them as a creator, like, I don't know if I would take it seriously.
Insight, and you have to have random chatters tell you what you should do, stop right now and get another job. Because you clearly don't fucking understand the space. You don't understand what you're doing. You don't understand your content. You have no intuitive understanding of how that content is supposed to relate to people. Just do yourself a favor and get another job. But
yeah,
like, you should never go and like take somebody's feedback like, oh yeah, this is something that I should do. And I'm not saying nobody ever gives good feedback. But I think that whenever you're trying to find good feedback from like a comment section or from YouTube, YouTube like videos and shit like that, not YouTube videos, but like, YouTube comments, I would say. And, or like Twitch chat or something like that, or Twitter, like, you are literally talking about finding a needle in a haystack. Because these people don't fucking understand. They don't get it. And it's not their fault. They're just viewers. Like, they're not stupid. They're not inferior. They're probably a lot better at you than you at, like, I don't know, being an electrician or, being a teacher or working in the military or something like that. They're very good at that. But, I mean, if this guy's like a fucking, I don't know, like a plumber, you're not going to go and tell him. He's not going to be asking you, how do you think I should install this pipe here? He's going to know what to do because he's a fucking plumber. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's the smart thing to do, is to not listen. Yeah, the old war backseater essay comment. Well, that's just video game shit. But I'm saying, like, the directions to take your channel in. What qualifies as feedback, though? Because seeing your content not doing well and acting on it is kind of taking your viewers' feedback into your account. I think that a quote from Jeff Kaplan is perfect for this situation. You cannot rely on your players to tell you how to solve a problem, but you can sure as hell rely on them to tell you that it's there.
That's actually really
smart. So what I mean by that is that
I remember that quote.
If a lot of people don't like something that you're doing, maybe that might not be a good idea to do.
But I also think it's also different where it's like if everyone is like majority of the player base or viewership is saying something is bad, I think you should look at it seriously. Like, oh, it's not just one person. It's not just 10 people. It's like 70% of the views are all saying this, or player base in Jeff Kaplan's case. So to me, like, I don't completely agree with that, but I do think that that is true.
But it doesn't mean that they're going to be able to tell you what you should do instead and have that be a solution.
Exactly.
So yes, obviously, nothing is like just a fucking black and white, never take feedback. But I think that, again, over 99% of the feedback that at least I get is not good feedback. It's not something I would do. Does that make sense? Viewership is better feedback than comments. In general, yes, but not always. Because sometimes whenever you do something that has a very high viewership, like, for example, like girl content, I think this is a great example. Like, there's a lot of streamers that do girl content. And girl content is a great way to grow your channel in the short run and kill your channel in the long run. Because the people that you attract with that are weirdos and losers and kids. And there is nothing that is more mercurial and fleeting than weirdos, losers, and kids. Number one. Number two.
Yeah, like even his chat's putting in there like girl content. I'm not sure it's like makeup tutorials.
Whenever you are doing that content, you're also
like hot tub
alienating
streamers,
normal, average, chill viewers that are more, I don't know, like, what's the word for it? Like, more well-adjusted, okay? Let's just be honest. They're way more well-adjusted. They're not weirdos that are trying to live their, like, their relationship life through you. They just want to watch the content and chill out. So the more that you fixate on that kind of stuff, the more that you not only alienate viewers that are going to be more attached to your content as a whole, but you also bring in viewers that are only there for that one type of content. Does that make sense?
In a sense, it's like for those streamers and stuff who dedicate their streams to a certain game. Like, for example, Asmon with WoW prior to this, where it's like, what happens if the game starts dying? Like, when WoW entered, like, BFA and Shadowlands, a lot of streamers lost a ton of viewership. Like, just probably destroyed a bunch of channels. I don't know if that's exactly true, but it wouldn't surprise me. But it's even worse for, like, if you were, like, an Overwatch streamer, you know what I mean? Or, like, I mean, I'm trying to think of something else, but it's like if your game's no longer it, then your channel's going to also take a hit. So,
yeah, I know for a fact, a lot of people started watching after the depth trials. My wife woke up every damn day, was like, is Asmon streaming it? Yeah, but where are they now? Well, they're not watching because I'm not doing that.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? Point. Like, sure, I've retained some viewers from that in general, and like I wouldn't consider that a mistake or anything like that. But overall, after you stop doing that, then those people are going to leave. Does that make sense? What's considered girl content? I mean, I'm not really trying to get into an example of it or like anything like that, because then people go, oh, what about this streamer always talking about this guy? I fucking hate him too. I think that we all know. Guys, can we just be honest? We know what girl content is on Twitch. Come on. Let's be real. So yeah, that's an example. So viewership is not always the best indicator, but it is an indicator, and it is generally a good one.
There's a decent reason for this, and there's some constructive criticism that you can take on board. But most of the time, it's just going to be people saying they hate your face or your voice or anything, literally anything, whatever you can.
My best advice is that if somebody's criticism of you includes a insult on your personal appearance, throw the criticism in the garbage. Don't even keep reading. Immediately stop reading, move on, read something else. Yeah, because
it's not helping anyone.
Immediately
you
throw it away.
Change your face.
Whatever you can hear, someone hates it. Legitimately, whatever you put out there, someone is going to have a reaction of visceral disgust to. All of which is to say that if you're particularly sensitive, either prepare yourself for this or maybe rethink the idea of being a YouTuber altogether. Because
yeah, that's true. And it's unfortunate that is the case because nobody should have to be subjected to harassment. However, if you make YouTube content, you will get feedback. And all of that feedback will not be positive.
Yeah, that's
Even
true.
if 90% of the feedback is positive, having 10% of the people that watch you or consume your content hate it is like a awful ratio and is extremely taxing.
Oh, is it? Maybe I'm like different than most people. Like things like that really don't bother me. Like even in like, so a lot of my work experience, especially early on, was like customer service. Like it never bothered me when people were like pissed off at me. Like I'm just doing my job, take it or leave it. Like you can yell at me, and if you take it too far, I'll just get my manager. At least back then. So it's just like I don't care. Like you know, hopefully like I'll be like this. Like if ever like YouTube like actually goes further than what it is, and I actually get people like really hating on me, I'll just won't care, hopefully.
So that's what I would say. You'll be a loser. Yeah, you gotta have thick skin to be a content creator. I think so. And also you have to have, like what I've said before is like you have to be your own North Star. You have to be the person that you want to be. You have to be able to know, okay, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to go. And you can listen to other people's feedback, but that's not going to, you're not going to read like 3 comments and then be like, wait a second, I'm going to go a completely different direction. That's whenever you start making mistakes.
Yeah.
It's very exposing, and it could destroy you. You know, I was once actually sent a death threat because of my opinions on comic book pirates. Good times. Look, it shouldn't have to be this way, but it's the sort of thing that you need to expect. To quickly touch on business, if running your own business is...
I think getting death threats aren't that big of a deal. I mean, obviously it is. Like, I'm said that really badly. What I mean is, like, if you've been on the internet long enough, it's happened.
Something that doesn't appeal to you, then this also
even without being a
right
content creator.
There's this romantic idea amongst viewers that YouTube is all about the passion, you know, just dude in room doing his thing for the world to see. So honest, so raw. But then as soon as you start making your first cent, everything changes. Because whether you
yeah, I mean, this is always very true. Like, you know, you have people that think that, oh, well, this guy, he just likes doing it for whatever reason.
He looks
People
a little
like doing it
with
because it makes a lot of money. Do you want to know why everybody follows Twitch trends? Because it gives you more viewers.
Yeah.
Duh. Obviously. So yeah, you just acknowledge that. It's not bad, but there it is. And there are some Twitch trends that, you know, like, you know, for me, I'll follow some and not others. I think that most people do that.
Oh, when they were watching, like, Gordon Ramsay and stuff? Or do they still do that?
The government sees it as a business, and so you need to treat it like one. Which means that you are now subject to a whole new side of law that you need to be on top on, or else you could get into some serious trouble.
Well, you don't really need to be on top of that. You need to have a CPA that's on top of that, or some person that you hire to make those decisions for you. And the thing is, you're never going to know everything about the tax law. That's why people go to school for like 6 years and then still they don't know everything about it. There's a reason for that, okay? So you're not going to just like Google a few things and then be like, oh, okay, well, I understand everything. So yeah, I think that's a very big factor. And well, let's see. I was going to say something else. I'm trying to remember what that was.
Then they're constantly updating the taxes.
Well, I think it's like just doing things that are popular. Basically, like playing games that are popular, farming different trends, like watching different content, etc.
Very common story with YouTubers, especially younger ones. But the amount of people I've heard that just forgot to pay their...
That's why people go to jail? Wait, what? That's why people go to jail? No, I don't think that's what I was saying. Sorry, no, I'm being so I'm so confused. Okay, let's just move on.
Tax on their YouTube income is terrifyingly astonishing. And that caused them big problems because they weren't prepared to run even the most basic aspect of a business. And I'm not saying I'm amazing at this. I despise admin. I am so shit at it. And it's by far my least favorite part of this career. But this is, again, where obsession pays off. I love talking about fictional pirates so much that I am willing to sit down and just dive into my personal living hell that is admin. And then there's people. It's kind of weird, actually. Despite the stats I showed you earlier with like the staggering amount of kids wanting to be YouTubers, the majority of society still doesn't even recognize this as a real job. I would say that when you get to talking to people...
I think that if you care what you're doing if other people approve of what you're doing as a job, you've already lost. You're a loser.
I don't know about loser,
the truth is that you don't need anybody else's approval to do what you want.
That is...
Like most people care. Yeah, I know, because they're pathetic.
But at the same time, I mean, a lot of people do look for approval from, like, their parents or loved ones, so I don't know if I agree with Asmon on that one. Like, not that I don't think... I disagree on that. You're not, like, a loser or pathetic. Because to me, it's like, that doesn't make someone a loser or pathetic. I do think that you should try to change that mindset to not have other people's approval affect how you live your life. Like, if you are now living a shittier life because you wanted their approval, if that makes sense.
It's pathetic to care what, like, a random person, like, imagine like some
person.
guy.
I was talking like your parents or something.
You know, he works at some office and he's judgmental about your job. Well, who the fuck are you? You're a loser.
Yeah.
What do you? I don't want to be you.
If you're caring about some rando,
why would I want to think? Why would I care what you think? This is very important distinction. I've always thought is that if you don't care, if you don't want to be this person, if this person isn't where you want to be, don't take their fucking advice.
Yeah, that's actually really true.
It's that simple. Yeah, you don't have to go sit around and listen to some person who doesn't like you tell you what you need to do to earn their approval.
Yeah, exactly.
Who the fuck cares about what they think?
They're like YouTube
Nobody
comments.
Does.
Just ignore them.
They don't matter. Think about this massive knowledge. Yeah, some environments are less forgiving than others. Think about family. So what? oh wow, you know, your mom and dad don't agree with what you're doing. Who cares? So what? Yeah, it doesn't matter.
See, this is what I was talking about. Like, I disagree with him because Asmon's obviously like someone who just probably doesn't care what anyone thinks, including his own family. To a degree, I think he does, obviously, to a sense. But like, there's a lot of families that are very strict, where if you're not going for like the doctor or like a high paying job, that's kind of a guarantee of a high paying job. Like, there may be cases where you get disowned. So, and obviously, if your parents are going to do that, they're not the greatest of parents to begin with. But like, I'm not going to sit here and act like I would do better in that position.
Like what? Why? Like I mean, yeah. What? Okay. So I guess you don't like it. Okay, that's fine. Nobody who asked.
Around 30 plus, it's a very foreign concept, so you should be prepared for some awkward discussions. A lot of times people can ask what in any other profession would be considered quite an invasive question. Yeah. Stuff like, how much money do you make and how do you make it? And I still don't really...
Oh, people ask me this kind of stuff all the time. One of the most awkward things is that my dad will, anytime that he sees somebody, he will immediately go and tell them within probably 2 minutes of talking to them how much money I make. This is not, I'm not a fan of this. I know he's very proud of me and I appreciate that. I'm very glad. But like, you know, like I don't even tell, I don't tell people or anything. Like actually, it's cringe, not that I don't tell people. If people ask, I tell them, right? Like, sure, yeah, whatever. But I don't.
But to go around telling people without them asking.
I don't really give a fuck, to be honest. It doesn't really matter. Tell us. I'm not going to tell you guys. How about this? I've got a new accountant, and they're working on my taxes. And I'll tell you guys how much I owe the IRS, okay?
Oh, that'd be funny.
Whenever they get everything sorted. Yeah.
You know, people are going to try to do the math to see if they could reverse engineer it.
People I still don't really know. Yeah. I tend to find that people fall into one of two camps when they discover that I'm a YouTuber. Either it's, holy crap, that's amazing, you know, the sort of putting you up on a pedestal and worshipping the idea thing, which comes with a lot of its own problems. Or there's the other way, which is to be completely dismissive of everything you do. Because to them, it probably just sounds like you've said, I play with Lego on my bedroom floor for a living. And here's a good example from my real life. So
some people make a living doing
that. What I always tell people is I'm an independent broadcaster. Like, or I make content online.
Does sound a lot better.
Like I remember there was like this guy that came over and they were doing they were doing like pest control, and he was like up in my room. He's like, "Oh, bro, you stream?" I'm like, "Yeah, I stream." And like I talked to him about this for like fucking an hour. I never told him like what my channel was, if I was successful, how well my channel was doing. I was just talking to him like he's a normal fucking person. That's all you have to do.
I'm surprised they didn't ask throughout that whole hour. Like, oh, how's it been? Like, how much do you, like, roughly how much have you been making? Or, like, I guess that would be a little invasive, right? But I think asking the channel would be normal, right?
It's not hard.
Do some theater work from time to time, and it's well past the point where I can keep my actual career secret. As a result, it often does come up in conversation because, you know,
you would be very surprised. I think that there are a lot of people that have a chip on their shoulder, and this is not something that's unique to streaming, by the way. There's a lot of people that want to find an opportunity to be very conspicuous about being successful. That's why you see people driving $400,000 cars around. It's because, what do you think? Like, oh, wow, this car can go 220 miles an hour. Where are they going 220 miles an hour? No, you're not. You're driving 43 miles an hour in a 40-mile-an-hour zone over to, the grocery store to pick up, over to Whole Foods so you can buy overpriced food there. That's it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, people love showing off. That's why, like, There's like
That's why the
fucking
store.
Gucci bags are $16,000.
I was just thinking that. Yep. Like brand name stuff.
Novelty profession. So one time I was in between shows chatting with the group and the question came up of, what would you do if you could no longer do YouTube? Which is a great question actually, one that I ask myself every time a video performs poorly. But before I could answer, another slightly older member of the company interjected and said, well, he'd have to actually work. Which elicited a big group laugh that I just had to go along with. It was either that or get like very confrontational. Because I very rarely get angry.
Why? Like, people say the same stuff to me. It doesn't bother me at all. Because, like, I don't care. Why would I care what a 55-year-old boomer thinks of my job if he thinks it's actual real work or not?
Yeah. No reason you should.
If I could just sit home and do nothing and just get paid a lot of money, I'd do that.
It's also cases where there are jobs like that, by the way. Like, I'm not going to go into details because it's like involving my own job. But there are people who make money. Like, I've talked to them and they tell me what they do and how they got where they are. And they literally aren't doing anything and they're making like a ton of money. So
you in my life,
it's not just streamers that can get to that point.
Doing something, you know, having a job where you have to do something. No.
Like, I'll talk about two examples real quick. One was someone had started up basically a school for special needs, and they sold it to like the state or something along those lines. So they're retired, don't have to work a day in their life now. The other one, kind of similar situation in that they started up their own thing, but instead of selling it, they hired someone to run it, and they don't have to do a thing. They just make sure that the money just keeps coming in, and that's about it.
You do, though. Yeah, there you go.
Like, basically, do your own thing. Like, working for a company probably won't get to that point where you can do nothing and still make money unless it's like a position that doesn't really need to be there, but it's there. Like, there are cases where you run into that too, so.
It pays.
Where you're in like a corporate office and the people there are just like playing freaking games on their computer.
Work has evolved. Yeah, work's evolved, man. Like, yeah, get with the times, old man. Real work had real work. No, a real job, definitely. Work is what you make it. Yeah, people like that. Like, there's no reason to try to correct or fight with somebody like that, because in doing so, you acknowledge that their opinion is worth correcting or fighting against.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's completely irrelevant. It actually doesn't matter what they think.
Exactly.
Never forget that.
In real life, but this was one of those situations where I really could have gone off. Because it was a joke, yeah, but you know, there's always truth in jokes. And I could tell that from her perspective, I don't work. I just sort of fuck around all day and somehow make money doing it. While she has real work to do, like a job that makes you get up in the morning and go to a place to do a task. And that's how you make a real living. And that's the sort of thing you'll have to deal with. People not considering what you do a, quote, real job. I don't know, you don't carry bricks or you don't enter numbers.
Here we go. The Chad unemployed never has worked a single hour in his life, has so much free time he can do anything he wants, doesn't have nightmares, doesn't have to worry about paying rent because he lives with his mom, isn't going to commit a mass shooting, has plenty of time to make for his friends, has more than enough time to bank all the hot Stacy's, clean shaven face, no bags under his eyes because he sleeps as long as he wants. So true. Neat life.
I was gonna say, like, some of that was Asmon, but I don't think a lot of it was.
There you go, man. Abso-fucking-lutely. That dude, that's me? Yep.
Into a spreadsheet. I don't know. I don't know what a real job is anymore. I just fuck around all day and somehow make a living whilst doing it.
Sure.
You know what? Leave a comment in the comment place if you have a real job and tell me what it is. I'm legitimately interested. But in conclusion, unless you have a crippling obsession with something, maybe rethink the whole YouTube thing. Because it will cost you time, it will cost you mentally, and it will cost you socially. I don't care how good you think you are at balancing a work life, it is going to cost you. And you could spend years paying all of those costs, all for the insanely low chance of actually breaking through. through. And these are things
then
no
you
one
get banned.
tells you, because all of the advice you hear is from the 0.1% of people who actually
That
made
would
it.
suck.
But also, if you want to do it, go for it. Do it now. Because this is still a very unique opportunity, but maybe keep these things in mind before, during, and after you decide to invest years and years of your life into it.
I think this is a pretty good video. Somebody suggested for me to watch this, and I just was like, yeah, maybe link it to me and I'll take a look at it. And I never actually took any time to do that. But I'm very glad that I watched this. I think that's everything that he said was pretty accurate, etc. I do think, however, the moment that you let another person be the gatekeeper of your happiness and like your fulfillment, and what your fulfillment has to somehow fall in line with what their
You've kind of already lost.
Fuck all that. Fuck all that. Fuck everybody else. Only do what you want. And if you're not happy, nothing else matters. That's the way I see things, okay? You can say it's selfish. You can say it's entitled. You can say I'm an asshole. You can say anything you want, and it won't matter because it's not going to stop. That's it. That's all I've done my whole...
I also think that's like what you should try to do. Like, I don't think you should abandon any and all responsibilities in your life, but like trying to make your life better in any way should be what people should try to do if you're unhappy with what is currently happening.
Whole life, and that's all it's ever going to be. Let's see here. How's this be a therapist? No, I've no fucking shot on that one, man. I'm starting to think that way. Yeah. Did you get your degree before you worked for the IRS? No. It was I think it was a G4 or G5 in government, and so that's like a certain pay scale, and you didn't need a degree for that one. And so no, I got my degree after that. Fortunately, a lot of people grew up with a mindset that cares too much about other people's opinions. Hard to change. Good. Then take advantage of it and find ways to manipulate them into giving you money. It's simple.
Wow. Okay.
Like if you can't listen, if you can't change what people think, you just have to use them to your advantage.
Yeah, like NFTs. Or like they thought it was gonna be the next Bitcoin, basically. Okay. Don't be a YouTuber. I don't know if that's the correct title. It's what to expect as a YouTuber or something like that. Because it's like, and that's not even like every case. I think that was this guy's case and maybe a lot of cases. It's hard to say. I think it would take more people coming out and talking about what actually is involved. Because even with Asmon, like when he was going over what he was doing, like doesn't sound like anywhere near the level of what this dude in a room went through. I might check out those other stuff because I want to get back into One Piece because it's crazy long, so not a lot of people really like it, but alright.